sports business in many ways and athletic administration, and bringing in Caelyn Murphy and JaMarcus Walker. These are two members of the SAAC Executive Board here at Brevard College. Caelyn Murphy, thanks for joining the program.
Thank you.
And JaMarcus Walker has joined us once again as well. JaMarcus, thanks for being here.
Glad to be here.
Well, Caelyn is the secretary of SAAC here at Brevard College. JaMarcus is the president of SAAC. If you're not familiar with SAAC, Student Athlete Advisory Committee. And before we get into, kind of the timing of why we're having you guys on tonight, I do want to talk a little bit about just SAAC in general. And JaMarcus, we'll start with you. When someone, stops you, at the coffee shop and says, "Hey, JaMarcus, what is SAAC? And what do you guys do exactly?" How do you answer that?
So I basically tell them like SAAC gives the student athletes a voice, and we're able to put on a lot of events for student athletes on campus and also the non-student athletes on campus. And if any student athlete has a problem, they can go to their SAAC, and then we can go figure out the problem or find a solution for that problem. So SAAC really just gives a voice for student athletes, and it provides support for the student athletes.
And Caelyn, specifically here at Brevard College, what are some of the things you all have been working on at SAAC?
SAAC organizes a lot of stuff around the school. A lot of the athletes probably remember Trick or Treat for Cans. That was actually a lot bigger than just Brevard College. All of USA South did it. We're doing that right now, or we did that. And right now we're planning Pennies for a Purpose. And it's just a lot of this year it's been a lot of community service things like that, where we're trying to get teams involved and come back after COVID years where we couldn't do things like that. So Trick or Treat for Cans was a big push for us with Cans Across the Conference, and we came, I think, third, correct me if I'm wrong, second or third in the conference. So it paid off, and we hope to make some of the same moves with Pennies for a Purpose and anything else we do this year. So
yeah, and Caelyn, you're a member of the volleyball team here at Brevard College, a volleyball student athlete. And, SAAC has representation at Brevard from every sport, so there's representatives from every sport. How important is that to kind of get the full range of student athletes, regardless of sport?
Majorly. I didn't really know what to expect. This is my first year in SAAC, but just having a voice for everybody so that it's not just the team with the most athletes on it or the team that wins the most awards. It's like everybody gets to come together and talk about problems and solutions, and SAAC is made up of everybody. So I think forcing groups like that to kind of work together, we mesh really well, better than you would think we would. So it's really pays off to have some of those kind of the sports that might get glossed over sometimes, but they really do matter in SAAC. So
very good. Caelyn Murphy and JaMarcus Walker with us. Now, the reason we wanted you guys on specifically this week is recently you all just returned here to the mountains of North Carolina, Western North Carolina, from San Antonio, Texas, of all places, where the two of you attended the NCAA convention. And for those not familiar, this is like the big deal, the biggest of big deals when it comes to college athletics. The NCAA convention, college presidents, college athletic directors, all sorts of, major heavy hitters in the sports industry coming together to get a lot of business accomplished at the NCAA convention. And the two of you represented Brevard College as members of SAAC, also represented the USA South Conference. And JaMarcus, we'll start with you, kind of your overall, sort of thoughts now that you've had a few days back here on campus and able to reflect back on this meaningful experience for you personally, but also, what you all were able to accomplish as a group.
The convention this year was a mind-blowing experience. I went last year and had a good time, and this year was an even better time. And it was good to see catch up with some old friends that I met at the previous convention. And then also I got to get a lot of new experiences that I wasn't able to do at the first convention. So it was really fun. I wish it lasted a couple more days so we could still be there in San Antonio. But now I'm glad to be back and finishing out the semester.
And Caelyn, when you reflect back on it, what are some of the big memories for you?
Yeah, so I'd never been before, so everything was new to me. Um, it was just a great experience all around. My biggest kind of takeaways just were seeing the business sessions and how decisions get made. That was like really eye-opening. We got to meet Jim Nance, and I had a little fangirl moment. I have not shut up about that since I got back, but the business sessions were really like, they seemed like they would be the most boring, but it was the most like interesting, just seeing like the democracy of decisions being made in D3. And it was just, I was grateful to have been there for that.
All right, I'm not going to let that one slip away. This Jim Nance, moment. So Jim Nance, of course, the longtime broadcaster for CBS. I mean, this guy's called Super Bowls, the Final Four, the Masters every year, and meanwhile, the USA South Conference SAAC is suddenly hanging out with the guy and taking a photograph with him. Caelyn, how did all this go down?
So it was actually an award ceremony that we were at, like a luncheon thing. And Miranda would probably kick me if I didn't mention that Muffet McGraw was on first. And she actually gave a really great speech. I was really grateful to see that too. But she went on and got an award, and then he went right after her, gave a speech, and I know Miranda and I cried, and like some of the people at our table cried, because it was an amazing speech. And all of us were like, oh my gosh, that's Jim Nance. And we were in one of the tables closer to the stage where he like walked down and sat with his family and stuff afterwards. And I like looked at the girl next to me. She was from NC Wesleyan, and we were like, we're gonna go talk to him after this. And we kind of, like, as soon as they said that the lunch was over, we all, like, our whole table, like half of USA South stood up and like kind of probably scared him. Like we charged his table and we were like, hey. And he shook my hand, this one right here, and it was really great. And he spoke with us, and we got to have a little short conversation with him because people were also trying to get pictures with him. But and he took a picture with us, so it was really awesome. It was just like incredible.
Yeah, very cool. Muffet McGraw and Jim Nance, that two of the big award winners at the event. Also, I was talking to you, JaMarcus, a little. Peyton Manning won an award too, so you got to see him up close and personal. And as you kind of take a step back, these moments, JaMarcus, as far as being able to see people you see on television all the time, they're kind of surreal when they happen, but it's it comes with the territory when you're at a place like the NCAA convention.
Yeah, definitely. It gives me a chance to brag to some people that I've met a few famous folks dealing with the NCAA. So it's definitely great to see Peyton Manning and Andy Katz and Muffet McGraw, everyone.
Yeah, no doubt. And you guys did a great job representing Brevard. Also there was President Bradley J. Andrews, Brevard College CFO and athletic director report, also women's soccer coach Juan Mascaro. You mentioned Miranda Nash, Caelyn, the athletic director here, faculty athletic rep Josh Wilkie, and also senior woman administrator Kristen Rosado. And then from the USA South, really want to thank them for really creating this opportunity. Commissioner Tom Hart, Associate Commissioner Mike Christie, and also Taylor Anderson handling the social media. Caelyn touched on a little bit, JaMarcus, but as far as like the business side of this, and when you're literally sitting in some of the legislation as it's going down, whether it's the NCAA or USA South, tell us about that experience and what that's like to be in the room when these sort of in some ways life-altering decisions are being made.
Yeah, it was definitely the most interesting part of the entire trip. I was able to do a lot of things with the national SAAC as well, and I was able to see some of my colleagues actually go up and present like statements on why they think there should be a vote on a certain legislative rule or not. And it was definitely really interesting to see everyone with like different opinions. The room was filled like a thousand plus people, like different colleges from all across the Division III nation, and it was really nice to see this people go back and forth, share their opinions, and get their thoughts on the new changes within the NCAA.
Yeah, and you all were part of the USA South Conference initiative to bring representatives from the membership of the USA South to the NCAA convention. What was that like, Caelyn, as far as getting to know these student athletes from, in some ways rival schools of Brevard College, but, not just the ones from the USA South, but, you also, I'm sure, got to meet folks from all over the country.
Yeah, it was kind of surreal. I was hanging out with USA South the whole time. So just getting to meet, it's like night one with like icebreakers and stuff, talking to them was really interesting. And it took us all a while to kind of open up to each other because it feels like counterintuitive to be like buddies with these people, especially like there were a lot of volleyball players there and it was people that I've like watched film on them, and Coach Abby's been like, okay, we're gonna target her or whatever, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so odd that like we kind of made friends while we were there, and it made me realize like that was like when I took myself out of like my little bubble, and I was like, I'm not just here like for the volleyball team, and I'm not just here with Brevard, I'm here like as a USA South representative, just like everybody else in our group, and it was like it was crazy, just like you're not my enemy today. We're like a unit right now. It was pretty cool.
And JaMarcus, anything to add to that as far as, these relationships and these friendships that you're making with, fellow student athletes from the USA South Conference and also, throughout the NCAA?
Yeah, I was definitely glad we got the opportunity to meet some other people within the USA South. Like, we're always playing as other teams, but there's probably like no one we know on these other teams. And now we finally get to meet other people from other schools that are also passionate about SAAC and their sport. It was really fun. I actually got to meet a guy from Pfeiffer that I played in tennis, and I was like, now I still talk to him often. And it's like now we're friends. And I just played him last year, and they unfortunately got the win, but it was good to catch up with him and see what he does for his own campus SAAC, and then my national SAAC colleagues. It was great. It's great to see them and great to see what they do on their different campuses all across the world. I mean the country. And it was surreal moments.
Very cool. One more kind of business matter I'd like to run past you, JaMarcus. Then we're going to get to the fun stuff of the trip. The new president of the NCAA, Charlie Baker, who the governor of the state of Massachusetts, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts is what they call it up there. But yeah, a governor of Massachusetts who will become the new NCAA president. He was a student athlete once upon a time at Harvard, and you all were able to experience one of his very first interactions with the NCAA and the NCAA membership, in an address, at the convention. JaMarcus, tell us a little bit about, your takeaways from that and what that was like to kind of be in the room. I mean, I don't think he's done all that many interviews or, has even really officially even started the job, but here he was. You guys were kind of some of the first ones out of the gate to get to hear from him. What did you hear from the new president of the NCAA?
Yeah, it was really great to hear from him. My biggest takeaways from every time that I heard him speak was that he was really committed to student athletes. And I feel like with the way the world is now within the NCAA, it's really good to have someone that we know we can trust as our president of the NCAA, and someone who's actually committed and wants to see change within the NCAA. And overall, he seems like a really good guy. And he's really tall. I don't know if you've seen him, but I stood next to him and I was looking up, and I'm like 6'1", so it's crazy. But I'm definitely glad the search committee chose a great person, and I really feel like he's going to be committed to the student athletes.
Very cool. Good to hear. Well, let's get to the fun stuff, Caelyn. There's a couple of, you got to experience San Antonio in a lot of ways, beyond, your busy time at the convention itself. Before we get to kind of the main event, this deal that went down at the Alamo Dome, you all visited the Alamo, the actual Alamo. Tell us about that, Caelyn.
So that was like that was something that was on like everybody's radar. Everybody was like, we have to go see the Alamo. And we found out how close it was to our hotel. And there was one night when we had like a couple hours of free time between stuff that we had to go to. So we all went back to the hotel and changed, and we all, like, USA South, the people we were talking about, walked, and we got there and we were like, this is it. It's like just a little building, and but we all got a picture in front of it. It was like for sure a bucket list thing that we all had to do while we were there, and it was pretty cool. It was just kind of, we did it.
Yeah, and everybody, Caelyn talks about the Riverwalk at San Antonio as just a great attraction as well. You all got to experience that also?
Yeah, we got to go. They're actually not far from each other. So we went to Alamo, we went to Riverwalk, walked around and went to the little like jug shops and got the Don't Mess with Texas t-shirts and stuff. And there we got Mexican food on Riverwalk. That was great. We did all the when you're in San Antonio, you have to do these things. We got the whole list taken care of. So, but yeah, Riverwalk was beautiful. We all got pictures out there. It was a cool scene to be at.
Outstanding. And then happening the same weekend as the NCAA convention, Warriors at Spurs, but at a special location at the Alamo Dome, and they set a record for the largest crowd ever at an NBA game. And you two, along with the group from the USA South, was able to experience this in person. JaMarcus, tell us about the basketball game.
Oh, it was an amazing experience. When I first heard that we were going like months ago, that's all that was on my mind the entire time. And as we were walking up to the arena, I was like just looking at it. I was like, this is ridiculous. I would never expect that many people at an NBA game. And once you walk in, got to your seat, it was like a unreal feeling, just like to just be around like thousands of people and just be able to see the court and all the players and all the like just feel the history that's been in that building. Like with me being a big NBA fan, I was definitely like thinking about some of the great games that's taken place there and some of the funny moments and things like that's happened at the Alamo Dome. So I was really glad we were able to be part of that game and part of the history.
Yeah, and Caelyn, your impressions, you all, you're in these sessions with all these, administrators of sport, and then you get to attend this huge sporting event.
It was pretty awesome. I did not know the magnitude of like how big a deal the game was until we were on the flight to San Antonio and JaMarcus told me about it. And I was like, oh, cool. But then it seriously was, like he said, you got there and it was like, just the energy was like unreal. All the Spurs fans were like so pumped. And I don't know, I love the energy at pro games anyway like that. But it was like, you could tell that everybody was like bringing it because it was such a big deal when we got there. And they were like playing footage from when they used to play in the Alamo Dome. And you could tell it was a huge deal for Spurs fans that hadn't been there in years and breaking the record of most people. It was just like, we were all like, oh my gosh, this is crazy.
Well, do want NATO Nation to get to know each of you just a tad before we let you go too. And JaMarcus, catch us up on where you're at, with your studies. You're a tennis student athlete, so you're on the eve of that season as well. And then, also, your goals as far as, post-graduation, what you're looking to do.
So I'm a business and organizational leadership major with a minor in coaching, and I'm currently in my last semester, so I'm a little excited about that. Kind of nervous as well, but it'll all work out in the end. But yeah, when the semester's over, I just plan on going to grad school somewhere. I don't really know where yet, but I don't really care. Just go out and explore the country. It'll be nice for me. And yeah, we're starting practice for tennis season, and we're getting ready for these matches coming up, and it's going to be a really good season. You don't want to miss out.
Yeah, and I do want to mention JaMarcus has been interning with the Department of Athletics here at Brevard College, also working closely with head women's basketball coach Donald Hudson to really learn kind of the inner workings and the inside of how coaching works from behind the scenes and how the operations of a basketball program works behind the scenes. So great job with all that as well, JaMarcus. Appreciate your efforts there. And Caelyn, tell us about your studies. Your career as a student athlete here. You're on the volleyball team, but also what your goals are academically here at Brevard College.
Yeah, volleyball's been great. It's been kind of chill since we got back because we're not in season right now, but we just had a meeting the other day. Looking forward to spring season. We got our schedule laid out, competition days, all just looking forward to starting at the end of February. So, and then academics wise, I'm agricultural education, so not even close to sports related, but I'm really excited. It's something I've always been passionate about. And after Brevard, I will be hopefully a teacher and teaching high school. Don't know where yet, don't know what subject yet, but I'm looking forward to working in an ag program and having students. And a year from now, I'll be student teaching and like almost the full swing of education and stuff. So I'm really excited.
Outstanding. Well, before we let you go, I do want to give you each the opportunity to, kind of sum up this experience at the NCAA convention, and anybody you may want to, thank as far as, this opportunity, but also just your total experience as, a student athlete here at Brevard College and as a member of the USA South and the NCAA. JaMarcus, the floor is yours.
Like to summarize my experience, it was mind blowing, and hopefully this won't be my last convention that I go to. But definitely, it was a mind blowing experience. But I just want to shout out my mom and the rest of my family out there watching. The athletic department here, who's helped me with so many different opportunities and eye opening experiences. And also, I want to shout out a former member of the athletic department here, Stephanie Johnson, who is one of my biggest mentors right now. She's really pushing me to do better and continue to grow within, like, as a person and in the world of athletics.
Well said. Well done, JaMarcus Walker. Caelyn, same opportunity for you. Shout outs and thank yous.
Yeah, so I guess just everybody that you mentioned before, our athletic staff, Miranda, Riz, everybody that came to the convention with us, they were great. My coaches, Abby and Brittany, for appointing me SAAC rep this year. So I wouldn't have been here if they never made me SAAC rep. So, and then, yeah, just my family, my parents always supported me and made me feel like I could do anything. So I probably would have never put my name on the exec voting sign up if I didn't have that kind of support in my life. So
well said. And as you mentioned, big thank yous to the USA South Conference, in particular, Commissioner Tom Hart, and also Associate Commissioner Mike Christie, really, making this a reality for all these student athletes throughout the conference. Really appreciate the opportunity, and great job to each of you, Caelyn Murphy and JaMarcus Walker. You guys represented Brevard College fabulously. You represented the USA South Conference well, and I'm just so pleased that you all got so much out of the experience on a personal level and able to, have this, for the rest of your life and the rest of your careers, wherever you may end up. This experience is always there for you. So great job this evening. Also, Caelyn Murphy and JaMarcus Walker, thanks for joining the show.
thank you.
Thank you.
All right, there they go. And that